नमस्कार मित्र आणि मैत्रिणींनो, आज आपल्यासोबत आहे विराट आणि ओकेदेनच्या पहिल्या टॉक शो मध्ये तुम्हा सर्वांचं मनापासून स्वागत करतो. मी समीर. आज आपल्यासोबत विराट आहे, जो की ॲडव्होकेट आहे, त्याचबरोबर एक अमेझिंग सायफाय रायटर आहे आणि त्याला सायबर लॉ बद्दल देखील बऱ्याच गोष्टी माहीत आहेत.
हाय.
तर विराट, तुझं स्वागत आहे आपल्या ओकेदेनच्या
थँक्यू सो मच.
तर अनेकदा आपण पाहतो की सगळीकडे नवीन नवीन माध्यमं येत आहेत आपल्याकडे आणि या माध्यमांचं स्वरूप बदलत जरी असेल तरी ती समाजामध्ये येताना एका वेगळं अंग घेऊन येतात. तसंच तुझ्यामधलं जे अंग आहे ते आहे सायफायचं. तर ते तुझ्यामध्ये कशा पद्धतीने डेव्हलप झालंय आणि काय सांगशील की आतापर्यंत कशा पद्धतीने फ्युचरमध्ये डेव्हलप होईल?
ओके. सो लहानपणापासूनच कार्टून बघायची खूप खूप आवड होती. मूवीज, कार्टून्स, की सुपरमॅन, बॅटमॅन, जस्टिस लीग जेव्हा कार्टून नेटवर्कवर लागायचे. अर्लियर टाइम्समध्ये हॉटस्टार, नेटफ्लिक्स वगैरे नव्हतं. सो वी डिडंट हॅव द लिबर्टी अँड द प्रेस्टिज टू गो अराउंड अँड स्क्रोल बॅक अँड जेव्हा वेळ मिळेल तेव्हा. सो 4 वाजता पोकेमॉन, 5 वाजता डिजिमॉन असं मी बघायचो. सो हे सगळं होत असताना जस्टिस लीग किंवा स्पायडरमॅन, सुपरमॅन चालू असताना मला वाटायचं की रिलेट होऊ शकत नाही आहे माझ्याबरोबर हे. ऑफकोर्स आय एम लाइकिंग इट, आय एम लव्हिंग ऑल दीज थिंग्स जे चालू आहे, जे बघायला मिळतं आहे. हाऊ सुपरमॅन सेव्स द डे और हाऊ स्पायडरमॅन स्विंग्स अक्रॉस द सिटी. पण मला असं वाटायचं की ह्यामध्ये इंडियन एलिमेंट का नाही आहे म्हणून. सो आधी मला वाटायचं की ऑल दी सुपर हिरोज आर अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड, जे सगळीकडे आहेत, पण फार करून तर ते न्यूयॉर्कमध्ये असायचे किंवा एनी फिक्शनल सिटी दॅट रिप्रेझेंट्स अमेरिका. तर मला वाटायचं की हे इंडियामध्ये का नाही असं. सो मी बोललं की ठीक आहे, व्हॉट इफ स्पायडरमॅन इंडियात आला तर. पण स्पायडरमॅन इंडियात टिकणार नाही, कारण आपल्याकडे असे बिल्डिंग्स नाही आहेत म्हणून. जर व्हॉट इफ बॅटमॅन कम्स टू इंडिया, पण मला वाटलं बॅटमॅन इंडियामध्ये येऊ शकत नाही कारण ट्रॅफिक आहे खूप, तर ट्रॅफिकमध्ये अडकेल म्हणून तो. सो आय वॉज लाईक ठीक आहे, लेट्स डू वन थिंग, की आपण स्वतःचेच काहीतरी कॅरेक्टर्स बनवू सो दॅट वी कॅन probably create something that is Indianized version. म्हणजे की आपला सुपर हिरो जो आहे तो बसमधून ट्रॅव्हल करतो किंवा ट्रेनमधून ट्रॅव्हल करतो आहे. सो आय मेड अ प्रॉपर फुल फ्लेजेड सुपर हिरो कॉल्ड एज ॲव्हिएटर. ओके. सो ही हॅड विंग्स. सो मी एव्हिएटर ह्यासाठीच बनवलं फक्त, इज बिकॉज की मला नको होतं की मी ट्रेनमधून ट्रॅव्हल करू. जर एव्हिएटर हॅड पॉवर्स टू फ्लाय. ओके. सो इज लाईक ठीक आहे, सो ट्रेन आणि बसचा ट्रॅव्हल वाचेल आणि माझे पैसे वाचतील. सो दॅट इज अ सुपर हिरो mindset that I had. But since childhood I started writing. I think 7th 8th मध्येच मी सुरू केलेलं. स्पायडरमॅन 1 जेव्हा रिलीज झालं तर खूप लहान होतो मी. स्पायडरमॅन 2च्या वेळी आय स्टार्टेड रायटिंग की इंडियन सुपर हिरोज कसे असायला पाहिजेत. इन माय 10th वेकेशन आय रोट 200 पेज बुक, म्हणजे लिहून काढली होती मी ती. इट वॉज कॉल्ड एज कबिलियन्स. ओके. कबिलियन्स म्हणजे कबिल्यामध्ये राहतात ते कबिलियन्स. ओके. अँड दे हॅड लाईक डिफरंट पावर्स. त्यांची वेकेशनमध्ये करायला काही नव्हतं. अपॅरेंटली मला सांगितलं गेलेलं की आता ही लास्ट वेकेशन आहे, ह्यानंतर पुढे काहीच नसतं, यानंतर फक्त कष्ट आणिच कष्ट आहेत. सो इन्स्टेड ऑफ जॉईनिंग क्रिकेट और फुटबॉल और बास्केटबॉल आय डिसाइडेड की मी स्टोरी लिहीन म्हणून. सो आय स्टार्टेड रायटिंग, आय स्टार्टेड डेव्हलपिंग इट इन 8th 9th स्टँडर्ड अँड आय फुल फ्लेजेड रोट एव्हरीथिंग बाय 10th स्टँडर्ड. सो ती एक 200 पानांची बुक झालेली. प्रॉपर स्क्रीन प्ले, प्रॉपर स्टोरी सगळं लिहून झालं होतं. प्रॉपर स्केचेस पण ड्रॉ केले होते. बट देन आय लॉस्ट द बुक. कुठेतरी ती बुक हरवली तर मला माहीत नाही. सो आय लाईक सॅड. आय एम लाईक ठीक आहे, आय हॅव मेनी मोर कॅरेक्टर्स. सो इट जस्ट ग्रॅज्युअली वेंट ऑन की विल क्रिएट मोर सुपर हिरोज. सो बाय द टाईम आय वॉज BMM केलं मी. BMMमध्ये असताना वी वर ट्राईंग टू क्रिएट सम सुपर हिरो कॉन्टेंट बॅक देन. तेव्हा we didn't have AI back then to make things better. Or 2013 or 14 4G was just coming. सो नेट पण तेवढं फास्ट नव्हतं जेवढं असायला पाहिजे आत्ता आहे तेवढं. सो वी यूज्ड टू जस्ट क्रिएट समथिंग बाय कट पेस्टिंग टुगेदर. कॉलेजमध्ये, जोशी बेडेकर कॉलेजमध्ये, वी यूज्ड टू जस्ट गेट सम टाईम. कोणाकडचा कॅमेरा घेऊन काय बनवायचं, कोणाकडनं काय स्टॉप एडिट करून काय करून घ्यायचं. हां. सो वी यूज्ड टू, दॅट्स हाऊ वी स्टार्टेड मेकिंग कॉन्टेंट फॉर सुपर हिरोज. बट देन अगेन थर्ड इयर आलं. थर्ड इयरमध्ये मग आम्हाला सांगितलं इंटर्नशिप करा, सेकंड इयरपासून चालू करा. अँड देन कॉलेज गॉट ओव्हर अँड देन इट वॉज लाईक ठीक, कॉलेज संपलं, ग्रॅज्युएशन झालेलं, आता जॉब करावं लागेल. सो देन देर वॉज अ ह्यूज गॅप इन बिटवीन. व्हॉट हॅपन्ड इज की मला फायनल इयरला KT लागली होती. फायनल इयरला KT म्हणजे ड्रॉप असतो. आणि माय डॅड बिंग PhD इन मराठी अँड ही बिंग इंटू मराठी लिटरेचर अँड अ व्हेरी अकॅडमिक स्कॉलर, ही स्टडिंग टिल नाव. ओके. सो फॉर हिम इट वॉज लाईक ओके हाऊ डिड यू फेल लाईक व्हॉट हॅपन. आणि मला असं वाटलं की मी लोकांना सांगायचं काय की मला ड्रॉप लागला मी काय करू आता. आणि आय वॉज प्रिटी शुअर दॅट की मला ड्रॉप लागू शकत नाही बिकॉज आय हॅड मी अभ्यासात अजिबात हुशार नव्हतो ॲज सच. ठीक आहे मला पासिंगच काढायचे. आमच्या प्रिन्सिपलने मला सांगितलेलं यू आर इन टू आर्ट्स यू आर इन टू एंटरटेनमेंट फोकस ऑन आर्ट अँड एंटरटेनमेंट फक्त पास व्हायचं काम करा बिकॉज लेटर ऑन युल बी गेटिंग इन टू समथिंग डिफरंट एनी विच वेज. आय वॉज लाईक ओके. आणि मला केटी लागली होती प्रेस लॉजमध्ये. ओके जस्ट रिमेंबर द नेम प्रेस लॉज. अँड आय वॉज लाईक ठीक आहे आय गिव्ह अ रिव्हॅल्युएशन. आणि जे मधले 2 महिन्याचा काळ होता रिव्हॅल्युएशनचा आय वॉज लाईक डिप्रेस्ड लाईक यू नो मी आजपासून काही वाईट आयुष्यात करणार नाही. मी चांगला बाळा म्हणून राहणार. मम्मी पप्पांशी खोटं नाही बोलणार. पण मला फक्त माझं यू नो माझं रिव्हॅल्युएशन क्लिअर करा. अँड बिकॉज आय वॉज सॅड अँड आय वॉज होम सो माय डॅड सॅड की तुला वाईट कसला वाटतं. आय एम लाईक ऑफकोर्स आय गॉट अ केटी सो आय गॉट अ ड्रॉप. लाईक माझ्या वयाचे सगळे लोक आता जॉब करणार और मास्टर्स करणार बट आय विल बी यू नो गिविंग द एक्झाम्स अगेन. आणि मग 1 वर्ष वेस्ट डझंट मॅटर बिकॉज MU एवढी डिफरंट आहे या सगळ्या गोष्टींमध्ये की रिव्हॅल्युएशनचा रिझल्ट आणि ॲडमिशन एकाच वेळी काढतात ते लोक. सो डॅड बोलले ठीक आहे काम कर तुला मी ओरडणार नाही तू लॉ करशील का. लॉ आय नेवर थॉट ऑफ डुईंग आय एम अ BMM गाय. आय डिड जर्नलिझम इन BMM. आय राईट स्टफ. इज लाईक काम कर लॉ कर मी तुला ओरडणार नाही. अँड दॅट वॉज लाईक अ व्हेरी डेलिकेट मोमेंट दॅट ही टूक लेवरेज ऑफ इट की ठीक हातोडा गरम है तो मारो लाईक लोहा गरम है तो हातोडा है तो मारो. So I was like, ठीक है, you won't be mad at me, right? And he's like, no, I won't be mad at you. So that's how he tricked me into getting into law. My results came out and मला पडले ते 18 marks, okay. That went down to 48 marks. So there was some miscalculation, but I had already promised my dad कि ठीक है मी law करना, so I had to do law. So mind you, I had KT in press laws and I was going for a proper full-fledged law course. So I was like at that time I was like ठीक आहे now I have time so I'll start creating comics. So I attempted to create comics तेव्हा पण झालं नाही is because comics करायला खूप capital लागतं. You have to pay the artist, you have to pay the I was writing but still you have to take out some fees, you have to print it out. म्हणजे नाही म्हटलं तरी 3-3.5 लाख 4 लाख खर्च तरी ऑफकोर्स येणार या गोष्टींना. I didn't have that kind of money because I was not working by then. I was just a graduate from BMM. थोडेफार काही सेविंग्स असतील 20-30 हजार रुपये. दॅट वॉज जस्ट माय स्मॉल इकडून तिकडून केलेला फ्रीलान्स गिग वगैरे. सो आय लाईक ठीक आहे लेट्स जस्ट गॅदर सम पीपल. आय गॅदर्ड आय बेग बॉरोड अँड आस्क्ड सम पीपल टू मीट एट ग्रँड मामाज कॅफे इन दादर अँड आय बेग्ड देम टू वर्क ऑन समथिंग. But you know because there was no money involved, there was no motivation involved for them. For me it was there. We just made like 3-4 pages and I'm like okay let's stop now. So I started this comic company just on Facebook called as Profound Comics. Okay, but then you know I was in law at that time and I used to wear that badge of Profound Comics to my college and everything. And teacher used to be like what is Profound Comics? I used to tell them the whole story. So they used to be like you're doing law, you have to practice, it's a day in day out job, how are you going to do it? I'm like we can of course you know try to do it. आणि मग बिफोर द फर्स्ट सेम ऑफ लॉ आय रिअलाइज की मला लॉ जमणार नाही. दिस इज नॉट समथिंग आय कॅन डू. फक्त लिगल लँग्वेजमध्ये जे काय आमचा सब्जेक्ट होता आय कॅन डू इट, अदरवाईज आय वोंट बी एबल टू डू एनिथिंग. पप्पानं सांगितलं बाबा मी लॉ करू शकणार नाही, आय कॅनॉट डू लॉ, दिस इज नॉट माय कप ऑफ टी. सो इज लाईक ट्राय करून बघ, एक काम कर, एक सेम कर दो. तर मी आय वॉज लाईक नो आय डोंट वॉन्ट टू डू इट, नाउ दिस इज गोइंग अगेन्स्ट माय विल, सो आय वॉन्ट डू इट. स्टार्टेड रिबेलिंग अराउंड लाईक यू नो लाईक स्टार्टेड रिबेलिंग सेईंग की मी नाही करणार लॉ, मी लॉ नाही करणार. अँड देन पेपरमध्ये जाऊन अभ्यास नाही करायचं होतं, 3 तास तिकडे बसावं लागायचं. द रूल वॉज टू सिट देअर फॉर 1.5 hour मिनिमम बिकॉज दॅट वॉज युनिव्हर्सिटीज गाईडलाईन्स. आता बसून काय करणार? सो आय टू राईट स्टोरीज ओव्हर देअर. ओके, आय टू राईट लाईक 10 pages, 15 pages. इट वॉज लाईक अ ट्रीट फॉर मी टू सिट देअर विथ अ पेन अँड पेपर अँड ॲब्सल्यूट सायलन्स, नो बडी इज नॉट डिस्टर्ब यू. आणि तू 3 तास तुला स्टोरी लिहायला मिळते. नेक्स्ट जस्ट राईट माय ईमेल आय डी इफ यू लाईक, हॅलो सर इफ यू लाईक माय स्टोरी जस्ट राईट मी ऑन दिस ईमेल आय डी इफ यू लाईक इट म्हणून. So I wrote like 3 papers like that, and then you know just to prove a point that I can study law but I don't want to study law. Last paper I scored well because I told my dad, look, it's not about not able to do it, it's something I don't want to do it because that's not my cup of tea. I scored really well in the last paper. And one fine day I got an email from this professor saying that hey, I read your torts paper, which was not a torts as subject in law, which was not about torts. But you wrote a 11-pager story. So 11 means 1, 2, 3, 11. That's 22 pages. Oh. Okay, 11-pager story. It was very interesting story. Where did you get the inspiration from? It's nice. I was like, okay, so but you failed me in it is what I asked you. Like I still gave you 10 marks. For what is what I asked. He said, just because I didn't want to give you 0 for the creativity. I took images of the entire story, and it's really nice. It was about some alien coming down to Earth and talking to the president to improve the resources. That's the kind of story it was. So I was like, okay, ठीक है. And then dad told me, काम कर, first year संपव, मग second year, first year ला CET द्यायला लागायची तेव्हा. So he was like की फर्स्ट इयर संपव, सेकंड इयरला आपण परत ॲडमिशन घेऊ, दुसरीकडे ॲडमिशन घेऊ. फर्स्ट इयर संपवलो कसं बसं करू, सेकंड इयरला आलो. डॅड बोले सेकंड इयर संपवून टाक, थर्ड इयर तू कधी करू शकतो. आय वाज लाईक ठीक आहे, सेकंड इयर पण संपवतो मी. बाय द टाइम इट वॉज लाईक द एंड ऑफ सेकंड सेमिस्टर. सो या आफ्टर BMM I started my digital marketing agency during the first year of law, and I started like having a couple of clients back then, because 2015 मध्ये I joined this course of digital marketing, and then I was like, okay, this is new, this is something new. And just it was like 3 years, 4 years, there was fast high speed internet of 4G and everything. So I was like, okay, let's start going ahead with that. So I done छोटे मोटे gigs घ्यायचो मी, and I used to just earn some money out of it. So I was like, and by the second year half I was thriving pretty well with my digital marketing agency, and at the same time it was studies that I had to do because I had to pass. And I was like, just leave it, I'll just finish my studies once and for all, because I told my dad की माझं law संपेल त्या दिवशी, रिझल्ट येईल त्या दिवशी. सो वी गेट अ सनद इज लायसन्स. ओके, सनद इज लायसन्स वेअर इट अलाउज यू टू प्रॅक्टिस. आय टोल्ड माय डॅड, द डे आय गेट माय सनद, आय एम गोना टेअर इट ऑफ, आय एम गोना गिव्ह इट टू यू, आय एम गोना गेट बॅक टू माय बिझनेस. इट्स लाईक ओके, ठीक आहे. सो इट्स लाईक आय हॅव टू फिनिश दिस. सो दॅट्स हाऊ आय समहाऊ मॅनेज टू गेट इन टिल द सेकंड इयर. आणि त्यामध्ये मला खूप साऱ्या केट्या लागल्या. आय लाईक 11 KTs. ओके, आणि 11 KTs इज अ लॉट टू clear at once, because I was like, ठीक है. So I had a plan की every 6 months मी 2 subjects clear करणार. असं करून म्हणजे 11 subjects clear करणार. I won't study for 4 subjects at a time. I'll study for 2, I'll clear them, I'll leave. And then COVID came and online exams came. So that's how I finished my law during COVID, I gave like 6 exams offline and 6 exams online, just like everybody else, and I cleared my law. And I was like, okay, now I got my sanat, now I'm going to tear it off. The day I was going to tear it off, मी माझ्या फ्रेंडला भेटायला कुठेतरी गेलो होतो. अँड वाईल कमिंग बॅक एका आय थिंक इट वॉज अ प्रायव्हेट बस त्याने ठोकलं मला. अँड इट वॉज लाईक द डेडलीएस्ट प्लेस टू स्टॉप युअर कार, बिकॉज इट वॉज माझेवडा जंक्शन इन ठाणे, विच इज filled with trucks, and from all sides there are cars coming, and I'm like, I just stopped my car and I just got out with a Tommy in my hand to beat the shit out of this guy. ही गाडी नवीन घेतली, 1 महिना झालाय गाडी घेऊन आम्हाला, आणि मिरर तुटला आणि स्क्रॅच आलाय. सो तिकडे आम्ही आस्किंग हिम टू कम आउट. इट्स लाईक ऑल हिटेड अप. आय कॅन सी गाडींची लाईन ॲटलीस्ट 1 किलोमीटर लांब राहिली, बिकॉज माझी गाडीमध्ये उभी आहे म्हणून. विथ सो मच ट्रॅफिक, police is of course going to come. So this police guy came, and so he saw a weapon in my, for him it was a weapon in my hand, and he's like, काय करतो मी, सांगितलं असं करतो, नाव का तुझं. That was the first time I said, माझं नाव ॲडव्होकेट विराट विलास पवार आहे. And he was like, oh sir, जाऊन दे ना साहेब, कशाला करतात. The way he was behaving earlier, की काय तुला कळत नाही का, काय हे सगळं काय करतो, गुंडागर्दी करतो का, नाव का तुझं. माझं नाव ॲडव्होकेट विराट विलास पवार आहे. ॲडव्होकेट आहात मला, हां साहेब काय करता, जाऊन दे. नाही मला आता पोलीस कंप्लेंट करायची याच्या विरुद्ध. जाऊन दे ना, कशाला आमचा ताप वाढता तुम्ही लोक, सोडा ना, असं करून केलं. सो वी टुक लाईक अराउंड 1000 रुपीज फ्रॉम दॅट बस ड्रायव्हर. माझं इन्शुरन्समध्ये कवर होणार होतं, बट दॅट वॉज जस्ट बिकॉज आय वॉज अँग्री ॲट हिम. आय वॉन्टेड टू पनिश हिम सम द अदर वे. I came home and I was like, So had I said Virat Vilas Pawar, they might not have thought about it, but now that I told advocate, I think there was some weightage to it. So let's see, let's try, seeing it at a couple of more places. So wherever I went, I was like, I'm a criminal lawyer. So like, oh, is it? Oh, is it? Mummy sangachi lawyer. Oh, lawyer hai. Okay, nice. So I was like, okay, this is giving me some kind of limelight. This is putting me somewhere in the people's eyes. So let's just finish law and let's start practicing. And then I was like, okay, done. Let's just not do it anymore. अजून अभ्यास नाही करायचा आहे म्हणजे. And then I was like, ठीक आहे. पापा बोलले, काम कर, मास्टर्स पण करतो का लगे हात तू. I was like, I'm getting in the same loop again. So ठीक आहे. सो मी मास्टर्स पण त्यामध्ये 2 वर्षांनी केलं. सो दिस इज हाऊ आय मॅनेज्ड माय. सो मेनली BMMच्या वेळी तर काय फारसं नव्हतं, विथ मे बी विराट स्टुडिओज ऑर माय ओन रायटिंग्स वगैरे. बट during law, most of the things were there in my life. So after I finished my law, I was like, I wanted to write something. So then the writing came and all these things came. So that's how, it proceeded from BMM to law and then getting back to the art field.
हे सगळं आता मी तुझं ऐकलं आणि मला यामागची ना क्रिएटिव्ह प्रोसेस जाणून घ्यायला आवडेल.
हा.
लाईक की लता दिदी अशाच नाही झाल्या की त्यांच्या बॅकग्राऊंडला सगळ्या संगीताचं वातावरण होतं. तसंच तुझ्या आयुष्यात अशा बऱ्याच गोष्टी अगदी लहानापासून काय असं क्रिएटिव्ह फील्ड होतं की मग ते बुक्स असतील, मग त्या फिल्म्स असतील, मग ते काहीही असेल, एखादा असा एक प्रसंग जसा की आता तू ॲडव्होकेटच्या बाबतीत सांगितलं, तसा ह्या क्रिएटिव्ह प्रोसेसला बूस्ट करण्यासाठी तुझ्या लाईफमध्ये अशा कोणकोणत्या गोष्टी घडल्यात? मग ते बुक्स, मी जसं म्हटलं एखादं बुक्स असेल किंवा टीचर्स असतील तुझे, काय कशा पद्धतीने इम्पॅक्ट घडले या सगळ्या क्रिएटिव्हिटीवरती?
ओके, सो माझ्या वडिलांनी आजपर्यंत 50+ बुक्स पब्लिश केले. सो वी हॅव अ पब्लिशिंग हाऊस कॉल्ड एज होम पब्लिकेशन.
Okay.
सो एव्हरी दिवाळीला आम्ही दिवाळी मॅगझिन्स पब्लिश करतो, 3 दिवाळी मॅगझिन्स. सो लहानपणापासूनच पेपरच्या अराउंड मी राहिलोच आहे. ठीक आहे. डॅडनी पण खूप पुस्तकं लिहिली आहेत आणि त्यांनी बऱ्यापैकी स्क्रिप्ट्स वगैरे लिहिले, त्यांनी खूप काही केलेलं आहे. सो आय थिंक आय हॅव सीन हिम रायटिंग थ्रू आउट द टाईम आणि ऑर स्टडिंग. सो आय थिंक देर वॉज अ सबकॉन्शियस इम्पॅक्ट ऑन मी की पेपर, पेन और रायटिंग इट आउट. आणि बिकॉज डॅड वॉज अ पॉलिटिकल जर्नलिस्ट, त्यांना मी बोलताना पण खूप ऐकलं आहे. सो यु नो द होल क्रिएटिव्हिटी पार्ट आय थिंक कम्स फ्रॉम देअर, की मला लहानपणापासून तेच बघायला मिळालं. आणि आय थिंक आय वॉज सेल्फ मोटिवेटेड इन टर्म्स ऑफ क्रिएटिंग सुपर हिरो और साय-फाय थिंग्स इज बिकॉज आय वॉन्टेड टू क्रिएट समथिंग. ओके, बाय द टाईम यु नो एवढंच होतं की इंडियामध्ये हे का नाही आहे, इंडियामध्ये आणायचं आहे. सो दॅट्स हाऊ. आणि प्लस इंडियन कार्टून्स नव्हते. सो आय डिडंट थिंक फ्रॉम अ बिझनेस अँगल ॲट दॅट टाईम की ओके, इफ आय गेट समथिंग इन इंडिया नाव, मे बी इट कॅन बी वन ऑफ द फर्स्ट और बेस्ट. I was too young for that. I was in 7th 8th standard. तो बिझनेस तेव्हा काहीच कळत नाही. 20 रुपये घ्यायचे म्हटलं तरी बाई काउंट करायचे की 18 रुपयाला 1 2, ठीक आहे, 2 रुपये परत द्या का मला, असं व्हायचं. ठीक आहे. सो देयर वॉज नो बिझनेस अँगल ॲट ऑल. सो इट वॉज जस्ट प्युअर मोटिवेशन दॅट आय हॅड. इट्स लाईक समथिंग आय वॉन्टेड टू डू सिन्स माय चाइल्डहुड, की मला करायचंच आहे. So I think literature is how I got from my family. My grandfather used to write poems and everything. And he was also a good writer. He was also a good orator. So literature came from that, orator came from that side, and I think superheroes specifically came from within.
आपल्या भारतातले कोणते सुपर हिरोज तुला त्यावेळी आवडलेले आहे?
तेव्हा शक्तिमान होतं. तेव्हा ते शक्तिमान होतं. ओके. आणि त्या शक्तिमान पण खूप असं वाव वाटायचं. इट्स बिकॉज वाव, इट वॉज समथिंग डिफरंट. बॅक देन इट वॉज समथिंग डिफरंट. बट अनफॉर्च्युनेटली इंडियन सुपर हिरोजचे कॉमिक्स होते, बट मूवीज किंवा कार्टून्स नव्हते. क्रिश वॉज देअर. Krish was something that I was really happy to see because, okay, we have our own superhero, but it was Hrithik Roshan. So, you know, to get to see a superhero was like almost a Greek god, Hrithik Roshan himself. So it was something really nice, and I picked up Krish's personality a lot because, you know, I was happy for the fact that we have an Indian superhero, not about Krish. I didn't care much about a superhero, but the fact that we have an Indian superhero, I was thrilled by it, and I picked up his personality so much that I started behaving like him. Like I used to make noises while running, like that's the kind of noise I used to make.
Okay.
And yeah, and you know, that's something that you know, people used to give background music while I was just running as well while playing. And my mom is like, look, you're growing up now, and if you make this your personality, it's going to be very difficult. So and then with age it just went away and I stopped, you know. And then college, and so yeah. So I think if I can answer your question, everything was self-motivated, if I can say, in terms of superhero only. Nobody really told me, hey, would you like to do this? And I didn't see anybody doing it. So completely self-motivated stuff.
ज्युनियरची पाहिलेस का? ज्युनियरची कधी ऐकलं किंवा पाहिले का तुझ्या त्यावेळेमध्ये?
नाही.
म्हणजे मी लहान असताना ना, म्हणजे आम्हाला जो 7:30 वाजता लागायचा ज्युनियर सह्याद्रीवरती.
ओके.
आणि इतके आम्ही वेडे असायचो ना, क्रिकेटची अर्धी मॅच सोडून आम्ही ज्युनियरची बघायला जायचो.
ओके.
तर ते म्हणजे त्याच्यामध्ये खूप अंधेरा कायम रहे,
हे सगळं आय रिमेंबर. इट्स लॉंग टाइम अगो. आय रिमेंबर. या
तो पहिला जो माझ्या लाईफ मध्ये कोणी आला असेल ना सुपर हिरो, तर तो
ज्युनियरजी.
आणि आत्ताच्या तरुणांमध्ये ना विराट, मला असं वाटतं की अॅनिमे आणि मांगा या सगळ्या गोष्टी आहेत, ते पूर्वी का नव्हतं आणि ते आता कसं लोकांच्या मनात भिनत जाते? हे काय वाटतं तुला? की
anime and manga has been there from a very long time. Fortunately, it was not introduced in India at the right time. Of course, Pokemon is an anime, if you see.
Yes.
Pokemon सुरू झालं 1990s मध्येच. ओके. आणि त्याच्या आधी पण कार्टून्स खूप सारे होते. डिझनी वॉज क्रिएटिंग कार्टून्स बॅक देन. इट्स जस्ट दॅट नाव इट इज अवेलेबल व्हेरी इझिली. नेटफ्लिक्स, हॉटस्टार हॅज anime category in it. Back then there was no Netflix, Hotstar. And because of cable, there was no set वी हॅड टू मेक अ टेबल अराउंड इट, टाइम टेबल अराउंड इट, की ह्या टाईमला मला हे करायचं, सो दॅट आय कॅन गेट टू वॉच दिस कार्टून. दॅट इज वाय अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल मिस्ड इट. कधी झोपलो असेल किंवा बाहेर गेलो असेल किंवा फंक्शन असेल, सो वी यूज टू मिस इट, देन वी यूज टू मिस इट. आणि असं खूप वेळ झालं आहे की आय स्टॉप वॉचिंग कपल ऑफ कार्टून्स इज बिकॉज 2-3 एपिसोड्स मिस केले मधले मी. नाव आय डोंट नो वॉट्स हॅपनिंग, सो आय हॅव लॉस्ट इंटरेस्ट इन इट. सो ह्या कारणामुळे आधीच्या जनरेशनला किंवा माझ्या जनरेशनला टी व्हीवरती सगळं बघता नाही आलं. ऑफकोर्स वी डिड एन्जॉय वॉट एव्हर वी गेट, परहॅप्स वॉट एव्हर वी गॉट बॅक देन, बट we couldn't really get to enjoy like today's generation, or today I couldn't enjoy any kind of superhero show or anime. It's because of OTT and the kind of technology that has developed so far. And plus social media. Okay, social media varti pan if I put a status saying ki hey, watch this anime, 10 people are going to come and say like what is this anime. Earlier there was no social media. Orkut was there, but Orkut was totally badnaam for all the shit that happened when it started. Like it was a shitstorm that happened when it came out. I was in my 8th standard and there were cases coming of guys and girls meeting via Orkut and then dying. Okay. And these were guys were 28 years old. They were adults. But yeah, we were like not allowed to be on Orkut back then.
Okay.
But yeah, we still kind of shared Dragon Ball Z images and memes. There was no memes back then. Dragon Ball Z images and videos from there. So I think social media played an important role in propagating all these cartoons. तर त्यामुळे I think today's generation can enjoy it more. Merchandise वाढले आहेत, सेल्स वाढले आहेत आणि OTT मुळे जास्त करून झालं.
आता ना विराट, मी या सगळ्यामध्ये बघतोय ना, तर आता जसे जसे वेगवेगळे अॅनिमेचे कॅरेक्टर्स असतात, मग ते डेथ नोट मधले असतील काही कॅरेक्टर्स, त्यानंतर आपल्या महाभारतातले कॅरेक्टर्स असतील किंवा बॅटमॅन, स्पायडरमॅन, तर ह्या सगळ्यांची नावं इतकी युनिक असतात की आपल्याला कायम लक्षात राहतात. तर ही नावं कशी सुचतात? मगाशी तू म्हटलंस की त्यांना मी लहानपणी कबिलियन्स म्हणून टाकलं होतं, तर ही नावं सुचण्याची काय प्रोसेस असते? की एक तुझा हिरो आहे, आता मला वाटतं एक तुझाच एक HD ब्रंच मधला एक कॅरेक्टर होता धीरा नावाचा, तर मग ती तशी नावं ती कशी सुचतात? म्हणजे आर्म कॉप असेल, हवाई असेल, तर ही नावं सुचण्याची प्रोसेस कशी असते? म्हणजे मला गंमतच वाटते. म्हणजे फॉर एक्झाम्पल आता OkThen पण नाव आमचं, इव्हन तुझं हे विराट, तर ह्या प्रत्येकामध्ये काही ना काहीतरी अर्थ लपलेला असतो. आणि कधी कधी काय होतं ना की आपण बरीच नावं शोधतो आणि आपल्याला कधी वाटतं की हे टेकनच आहे, हे घेतलेलंच आहे. इव्हन आम्ही आमचं OkThen नाव शोधण्याआधी नो नेम पर्यंत जाऊन पोहोचलो होतं, तर तेही टेकन होतं. तर मग रॅन्डम आम्ही म्हटलं चला जे काही येईल OkThen घेऊन टाकू. मग ते तसं सुचलं. मग तुझी ही नावं जे युनिक कॅरेक्टर्स असतात ती सुचण्याची काय पद्धत आहे? म्हणजे कशी सुचतात तुला?
ओके,
काय करतोस त्यासाठी?
सो द नेम्स, मला ना नाव ठरवायला खूप डिफिकल्ट होतं. इट इज दी मोस्ट डिफिकल्ट थिंग फॉर मी की नाव काय ठेवू म्हणून, बिकॉज मोस्ट ऑफ द नेम्स आर टेकन ॲज यू सेड राईटली. सुपर हिरोज मार्वल अँड DC ने, फर्स्टली द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लेम दॅट आय फेस्ड वॉज टू क्रिएट कॅरेक्टर्स. कारण मार्वल अँड DC ने ऑलमोस्ट सगळे कॅरेक्टर्स क्रिएट केले. देर आर थाउजंड्स ऑफ लिटरली थाउजंड्स ऑफ कॅरेक्टर्स. आपल्याला फक्त मेन स्ट्रीम म्हणजे सुपरमॅन, बॅटमॅन, स्पायडरमॅन, आयर्न मॅन माहिती आहे, बिकॉज देर ऑन मेन स्ट्रीम. बट इफ यू डाईव्ह इन टू कॉमिक्स अँड अ प्रॉपर सेगमेंट ऑफ X-Man, there are thousands of X-Men in the comics itself. So there is nothing unique that I could come up with. मी जे काय विचार केला ते ऑलरेडी कॅरेक्टर एक्झिस्ट करायचा. इफ नॉट द नेम इज टू एक्झिस्ट. एनी गॉड डॅम नेम दॅट आय वेंट अहेड विथ वॉज ऑलरेडी टेकन बाय मार्वल और DC, बिकॉज दॅट्स हाऊ इट हॅपन्स, राईट? म्हणजे जर कोणाला काहीतरी पाण्याचं प्रोडक्ट बनवायचं आहे इन जनरल, दे गोना यूज वर्ड लाईक aqua, water, jal or H2O or something like that, right? So it's a basic logic. So I was like, I have to think of something. How do I do it? I spent hours just thinking name. Many hours of many days just thinking names ki now kai theo. For some reason, I didn't want to give them completely Hindi name. It's because it becomes very much local is what I feel. And if it's Hindi name, it has to be something which, it's easier for people to understand, it's easier for people to remember, and it's catchy as well. So my first novel, Heroes of Wars, I didn't decide the name until the novel was finished. In fact for all my content that I've created, I didn't think of the names, because I was like, if I sit on thinking for names, I'm not going to go ahead with it. I'll just write, I'll just name it as girl, boy or something, or hero. That's how I used to name them as. So for second novel, I wanted to create something that is very Indianized version. Okay, my first novel was Heroes of Wars, Men from Future. It's based on Mahabharata. Vidyadhar is my second novel, and I was like, I need to create something very much indie. Now I went ahead with, I couldn't go with magician, wizard, or sorceress because all these names are taken. So I was like, okay, Virat, just take a risk and let's go ahead with naming it as a very Indian name, a Sanskrit name. But then I was like, what if people cannot pronounce it? It's okay, people will pronounce it as wrong, no problem, but they will, at least understand, there's something there. So searching, guy with magical powers, a guy with the knowledge of magic, and then this Sanskrit word came up as Vidyadhar. Like, okay, Vidyadhar is a nice name, it has Vajan in it, so let's go ahead with that. So the name was like Vidyadhar and the Universe of Magic. So I was like, okay, the biggest pressure for me has always been to name it, because name is everything. Branding is important, right? If people like the name, they'll take it. And I was like, okay, let's play a smart game. Okay, where I was making really I wanted to create people to see my book and buy it without even thinking about it. So the only way to do it was to create a very great cover. Okay. So I was like, okay, let's create a cover. Usually तुम्ही जो novels बघता त्यामध्ये नाव असतं, maybe a random image or maybe no image at all, or just a texture. I was like, let's get the element of comics in it, let's get the literature of novels in it, and let's create something that is different. So the cover was different, so which attracted a lot of people. आणि माझ्या नॉवलमध्ये मध्ये there are action scenes and मध्ये there are characters. I did that because I liked it and I wanted people to imagine the way I was imagining in my head, and also to be honest because I didn't have so much money की मी पूर्णच करू शकेन म्हणून. So with the balance of creativity and with the balance of whatever money I have, I started adding it. So so everything was happening, like हे सगळं झालंय करून, okay, but now decide झाला नाहीये. नाव काय ठेवायचं आहे? I had to register the script, right?
Absolutely.
So I cannot do it after finishing the entire project. That takes around roughly a year or two, which goes to a lot of people for feedback, which goes to a lot of editors for correction, which goes to a lot of proofreaders for proofreading. And although we know ki kon घेणार आहे आपली story, but we still have that fear in my mind. We have fear in our head that, okay, what if somebody steals my story? What if there's plagiarism? What do I do? I was like, okay, now my brain is not working, let's not push it. So that's how I realized that माझी story लिहून झाल्यावरच मी नाव decide करू शकतो. That's something I decided. So all the comics that you saw with HT Branch, all of them had the name decided after the coloring was done. So earlier there was nothing on it. But still the basic, so now we getting to a topic where now कसं decide केलं after finishing it. That was a compulsion की, oh shit, आता comics बनून झाले, नाव ठेवावं लागेल, because I was on strict deadline with HT. की I had to submit the comic a week prior the publication, right? So I had to just think of it, like just think about it. For example, Dheera. Now Dheera is a cool name, I think, and I was listening to KGF song which is like Dheera, okay. I was like, okay, Dheera goes with my character, and it's a Indian name, and let's just name it Dheera because it's small, it's nice, and it goes with his personality. So we just named it Dheera. You said about Hawa Hawaii. Hawa Hawaii, I wanted a very feminine name to her. I wanted her to be very bubbly, but I wanted her to be a very Mumbai superhero as well. So what does she do? She flies. ती काय करते? वो क्या करती है? ऐसा क्वेश्चन आई वाज आस्किंग माय सेल्फ. क्या करती है? हवा में उड़ती है. ओके, सो हवा में उड़ती है, हवा में उड़ने वाली, हवा से बात करने वाली. ओके, हवा हवाई. So that's how I came up with this कि हवा हवाई रख देते. And at a point I was like, I don't care. I'm just naming them whatever I want to name, and if people like it, they like it. Otherwise, they don't like it. I thought very less about it. Arm Cop was something that was the last issue with HT Branch, and I was like, what do I name this superhero? What do I name it? What is that he have or doesn't have? He didn't have an arm, so we gave him bionic arms. It's like, okay, he's a cop, he has a different arm, just let's get it together, arm cop bana ke aage chalte hain. So most of these things came out of very I don't know, very helplessness of mine. This is character called as Dreaminator. Okay, I was like, he dreams, and people, it's like Terminator or something like that, or any Ters or Ers are basically the people that who do. So he's Dreamer, so Dreaminator. So that's how we named it Dreaminator. There's almost most of these characters. There's this character called as Magic Z. Okay, which is like my 4th issue with HT Branch. Now Magic Z is a very difficult to pronounce name. And I was like, how do I name it as, it's a female. It was my first ever female character. And she was from Northeast, the character. and I had asked a friend of mine who is pretty popular influencer over there, ki, hey, can I borrow your face for my comic? Would you like to be part of it? She's like, yeah, sure. And the names are something like that with E and Z's and Z's. Okay, so I was like, okay, let's get something from them. So I was like, what is the most common alphabet or common syllable that comes in your name? So she said like Z, because Tenzing, Xuanzin, so all these names are there. So I was like, Z, okay, so now she does magic and Z, so let's add it and let's give magic Z. So that's how I came up with most of the names, just random names I had to come. So that's how I came up with the name. So very exclusive for OkThen. We have 3 movies coming in, short films.
Okay.
So first name is Rush Runner, which I wanted to keep very, very generic because I wanted people to relate to the name. Okay. The second hero's name is Faku. Okay.
That's
Yeah. It's because he has certain abilities. And the third name is Kutria. Okay.
Nice.
So these are 3 different names that we have. So we'll be soon releasing it on our. It's in the post production, and we're in talks with a couple of production houses as well. So we'll be soon announcing the names. But when you talk about names, I wanted to share the fact that I wanted to create something very, very different. At least with the names, I didn't want to give the same man name to it. So I wanted these 2 characters. Rush Runner was still, I wanted to keep it that way, where it is Western influenced only. But for these 2 characters, Faku is from Badlapur. Okay, he's if I can tell, he's from Eranzad village in Badlapur towards there. So I wanted to give a very Desi and Marathi vibe to it. So that's something that गावचे पोरं एकामेकांना असे इंग्लिश नावामध्ये बोला ना, डूड ब्रो नाही बोलवणार. So we can't give him like stone bro or dude bro असं काय नाव घेऊ शकत नाही. So like, what is the word that we can give him? So I was like, okay, Faku, let's call him Faku because of a lot of reasons which you'll understand. And then I was on the last name and I wanted this to be completely Mumbai-ish, and I wanted him to have a name where people would have a problem with saying the name. So हे जे 3 सुपरहिरोज आहेत आमचे, त्यांची एक म्हणजे वेगळ्या नावं आहेत. ओके. सो वन इज रश रनर, सेकंड वन इज फेकू अँड थर्ड वन इज कुत्र्या. सो असं डिसाईड केलेलं आहे की वील हॅव व्हेरी different and unique names. Rush Runner was supposed to be a little Western centric and a little easy on people, but Faku and Kutria, those 2 are different things. For example, Faku is from rural village from India, so we did the shoot in Badlapur in Eranzad village. Okay, so I wanted to give him a very rooted kind of गावातला असा मराठी बोलणारा असा काहीतरी आपल्याला कॅरेक्टर बनवायचं होतं. So I was like, की असं आपण काय करू शकतो? We can't give him names like man or something like that, or maybe bro or something, or a tor, usually use. So I was like, let's have a word that people would use, जे मराठी स्पीकिंग पॉप्युलेशन यूज करेल आणि जे मित्र एकामध्ये यूज करू शकतील. So we gave him name as Faku. So you will understand why his name is Faku when you watch the trailer or the movie of it. Now Kutria is because Kutria is something that I wanted people to have a problem with the name, ki how do you say Kutria? Like basically कुत्रा इज कुत्रा एक शिवी आहे, राईट, बोलायला गेलं तर फक्त, और इट इज जस्ट अन ॲनिमल. बट आपण एखादा कुत्रा वगैरे बोलतो. सो आय ऑलवेज यूज टू थिंक की कुत्र्या ही शिवी काय, कुत्रे तर चांगले असतात, ते क्यूट असतात, ते लव्हिंग असतात, ते लॉयल असतात. सो वाय वुड यू कॉल एनीबडी कुत्र्या? दिस वॉज द क्वेश्चन आय गॉट व्हेन आय वॉज अ चाइल्ड. ओके, ते भुंकतात म्हणून त्यांना वाईट म्हटलं जातं का, और समथिंग लाईक दॅट. सो आय वाज लाईक, ओके, लेट्स नेम दिस कॅरेक्टर एज कुत्र्या बिकॉज firstly I want it to be very much Mumbai centric. I want it to be very much different. म्हणजे people would be like, काय नाव कुत्र्या आहे? I wanted this reaction which I got from most of the people I told. Like when I had the meeting here with my production team and I told them the name Kutria, so all these people are like, what, Kutria? Like is the real name? And like, yeah, that's the name of the project, that's the name of the IP. So that's the thing about having names where you have to create something ki jane people would be like, okay, is it something new, what is this? And it should make a statement, not just the character but about, I think, the entire studios thing. So I think that's about the names thing. In VirArt Studios मला रात्री 3:09 नाव स्ट्राईक झालं होतं. ओके, आय रिमेंबर द टाइम बिकॉज मी 11 वाजल्यापासून नाव विचार करत बसलो होतो, काय नाव ठेवू. शुड आय कीप इट दिस, शुड आय कीप इट दॅट, should I keep it something like Marvel, which has a very generic name, or should I keep it as something very out of the box, which makes no sense? Should I keep something related to my name? And at this point, I was like, fuck it, I'll just name it as VirArt Studios, VirArt. That's my name. My spelling is VirArt, right? Yeah, okay. You know, so I'll tell you something. While writing my name now, okay, sometimes in any form, जेव्हा ना आम्हाला वकीलपत्र साइन करावं लागतं, okay? कि yeah, this client is mine, you have to submit in the court. There are so many times I've written VirArt. Okay, Virat Pawar. It's like, no, not Virat. So that's happened so many times, even while filling the forms, किंवा even हॉटेलमध्ये जेव्हा आपण फीडबॅक फॉर्म बघतो राईट नाही ना, आय राईट VirArt ओनली. That's become a big problem for me. So yeah, I was just thinking, let's just name it VirArt Studio. I was like, okay, it sounds very narcissistic and self-centric. लोगो काय बोलतील? But I was like, okay, even Disney has its own name, like Disney Studios. But back then it was a different whole story altogether. Disney was the only guy who was doing it, so he could name it. Now there are 10 other players who can do it. So let's think, Virat, let's stop. And 11 to 12, I think 3-4 hours, I was just thinking about the name. Because I had to create a page, okay. And then I was like, okay, let's do a word play, let's do something. What do? We do art, okay. Who is the main creator? Virat, okay. So what will go like Virat and art, Virat and art. He's saying that sounds different, say Virat art, okay, let's name it as VirArt art. That's what I was going to put it. It's like it's getting too complex. VirArt art खूप असं टर खूप होते. So let's just keep it. Let's just take half of my name and let's just take art and then just take VIR of my name and art and join it as VirArt. So if you say it while talking, it sounds like Virat, right? It's my name. But if you look at the logo and if you see the names, it's VirArt. So VirArt's art maybe, or maybe you can say as a massive art, just leaving me as behind my the whole narcissistic personality, if you can say so, just keeping it beside. It's a massive art, if you can think so. That's how we came with the name, and surprisingly a lot of people liked it. Like, you know, you have named it your own name, and it has its own vibe to it as well. So that's the thing about names. I'm very bad at it. I take a lot of I take a lot of time to come up with names. So that's about the names thing.
ओके. सो आता हे सगळं नाव झालं आणि आपण सायफाय फिल्म्सबद्दल जाणून घेतलं आणि एकंदरीत ह्या सगळ्या गोष्टी आपण जाणून घेतलेल्या आहेत. तर मला आत्ता जाणून घ्यायचं आहे की तुला बराचसा इंटरेस्ट हा हिपहॉप आणि हे हिपहॉप कल्चर काय असतं, म्हणजे बीट बॉक्सिंग असेल, मग हे कुठून आलं तुझ्यामध्ये? हे एका टोकाचं आहे आणि हे एका टोकाचं, पण अल्टिमेटली इट्स आर्ट. बट हे आलं कुठून, हे दोन्ही हिपहॉप आणि
परफॉर्मिंग आर्ट्स अँड लिटिल आर्ट्स? ओके. I don't remember how I started it off, but I think I was in 11th standard. आणि तेव्हा फेसबुक वापरायचो, आपण सगळेच वापरायचो, आणि तेव्हा I was just going around and then I came across a rapper called as VNM, who is from Dombivli. Okay, his name is Viraj Mansarekar. He's one of the first rappers in India to perform in Marathi. And there was a song called as Veda, okay, Veda, मी तुझ्या मागे Veda, this rap song that he made, and it was his song. Somebody shared that song's link with me, and I was like, hey, this is a nice song. I mean, you know, what is this? This is rap. Oh, is this rap? I started researching more and started Googling like rappers in Mumbai, rappers in India, rappers in Thane. There's no rappers in Thane back then. Then I came into rappers in Mumbai. And I explored a whole new world over there where there were people, rappers जे भेटायचे शिवाजी पार्कला आणि सायफर करायचे. सायफर इज इन लाईक 5 रॅपर्स एकत्र राहणार आणि समवन विल बीट बॉक्स अँड दे कॅन स्टार्ट रॅपिंग, फ्री स्टाईल रॅप, लाईक नथिंग, लाईक ऑफ द डोम जे काय ते यू जस्ट डू इट. सो आय वाज लाईक ओके, दिस इज नाईस. And then I was like, okay, let's go and visit these guys someday. I don't know if I can do this or not, because लिहायची आवड आधीपासून होती, but परफॉर्मन्सची कधी नव्हती as such. And writing a poem and writing a story is a lot different from writing a rap and performing it out. So I was like, okay, let's go. So I went to Narali Bagh in Shivaji Park, and I was like really amused by this whole thing. Like, wow, this is a whole new world altogether. There are such amazing rappers, and I was blown by the fact that somebody could beatbox. How is it possible to make drum noises by mouth? How is my question. I was just looking at this guy who was beatboxing. His name was Gaurav Gambhir, goes by the name Decipher. He was there in the Gully Boy movie, and he has done amazing work in the beatbox fraternity. I was just wondering like how is it possible, and you know, I was thinking he कसा करायचं म्हणून. So it's like, okay, even I can do it. So I started writing rap. So my rap name was Majestic V. And I started doing some random stuff, writing some random rap. It was college, it was teenage, and it was the age of getting a heart broken. So let's write a heartbreak rap. Let's just, you know, talk how sad you are and how you want to woo this girl but she's not being wooed. So I started writing in that section, and then I was influenced by this rap called as conscious rap. ज्यामध्ये you talk about politics, you talk about society, you talk about the world hunger, capitalism and all these things. I was like, okay, these things are okay, let's just start talking about these things. And I got into a very serious genre of rap, conscious rap, just talking about the gap between poor and rich, the inequality, the caste system in India, and all these things. I started talking about these rap, and I found myself in a very different space altogether, whereas talking constantly about the socio-political issues that are happening in India. And then I was like, okay, I want more people to listen to rap and hip-hop. कारण हिपहॉप म्हटलं की लोकांना वाटायचं डान्स फक्त आहे ती. ओके, बिकॉज दॅट्स व्हॉट मेनली पीपल न्यू.
मी देखील याच ह्याच्यातनं हिपहॉप म्हणजे
डान्स. हां. So
नंतर कळालं.
Exactly. So people didn't know there were multiple elements to it. There was rap, there was graffiti, there was beatboxing, there was b-boying, and then the fifth element was knowledge. Okay, so there were 5 elements. एक hip hop. So that is the actual definition of hip hop. Hip hop is not just rap or beatbox or b-boying. It's all these things when they come together. Bronx में जब parties आलायची, all these elements came together. Rapper used to rap, a beatbox used to beatbox, a DJ used to play some beats, b-boys used to dance over there. There used to be graffiti going at that side. It was a different altogether vibe happening in Bronx over there. So I was like, okay, I want people from Thane to see what hip hop is. And at that time la na, there was a crazy fad going off of rock and metal. It's because Rock On movie just came and a lot of people went into learning guitar and everything. So I was like, I want people to understand how rap is. I want people to see how beatboxing and b-boying is. So what I can do is, I can't make videos because they won't reach more people. I can definitely start a event, okay, a series. So that's how we did our first ever event on September 22nd, 2013 in Hirandani Meadows, okay, where I got like rappers from Mumbai coming here and performing. So a lot of people were sort of looking forward to it. It won't work because nobody knew what rap and hip hop is back then, and they were like, it's not going to work. And a lot of people also came to see how miserable it's going to fail, okay, because there has been this generational thing going on. Rap versus rock has been going on from a long time until Linkin Park didn't bring these two genres together and created rap rock. So खूप लोग बघायला लागले की how it fails, but to my surprise it went really well. There were like 100-200 people in Hirandani Meadows. I took all the permission and everything, borrowed electricity from the ladies parlor over there, juice, and it went really well. And suddenly next day I started getting calls from newspapers, okay, like, you did hip hop event, what was it about? I say, oh, I'm getting calls from I'm getting famous, okay, all right. And तेव्हा खूप सारे आर्टिकल्स पब्लिश झाले होते न्यूजपेपरमध्ये अबाउट रॅप मूवमेंट इन मुंबई, ठाणे, विच कॉट लॉट ऑफ अटेन्शन ऑफ बिग पीपल. Now when you say Divine, Nazy, all these guys, so these guys have been really close to them from a very long time, since they have been performing underground. So they were also kind enough to perform in my events. My goal was to spread the culture as much as I can, and we did a lot of events before life happened and I started a corporate job. It was like my college days, so I was just going on crazy and just doing no profit events, getting artists, paying them some amount of money, asking them sometimes to perform for free, doing events in Koram, Viviana, in public places with the help of support of TMC and Thane police, and we just doing events. And it was giving me a different high altogether, because I knew कि okay, event आया इसके एक हफ्ते तक मेरा रोज calls आने वाला है newspaper से. That was something that I personally liked, okay. Like newspapers calling, hello, can I talk to Mr. Virat Vilas Pawar? Hi, I'm calling from XYZ newspaper. I would like to record more. I would like to know more about about your event. So that personally motivated me in a way where I was getting appreciation from newspapers, which was a big deal, of course. And I started doing events. Now, while I was doing events and while I was going to see performance and everything, I also started getting into it, as I said. So I had two options. Either I can I can be a performer, or I can be an organizer. I can't be both, because I have to focus on performance, then I can get gigs. I have to focus on organizing, then I can create more gigs. So because I belong to a very entrepreneurial family, my first call towards it was that let's just create opportunities for people. Let's give them a stage. And I'm really fortunate to have given stage to so many hip-hop artists, and I'm really lucky enough that so many hip-hop artists came together, met each other, and then they created more music. And I would like to consider myself a very small part of the big hip-hop industry that has been created now. And more than I'm just happy about the fact that, you know, I could contribute something at the start. So yeah, and I was like, okay, okay, let's do beatboxing. I was in my college and I told I can beatbox. It was a very new thing back then. I think 2014, 15, I was in 13, 14, I don't remember. I was in BM's first year. And I was like, I can beatbox. So everybody thought it's boxing. It was beatboxing. I said, it has the word boxing. It has the word beat and it has the word boxing. So people used to think like, you know, he's going to beatbox. And then I was like, okay. And then people were like really surprised, like, okay, how is it possible? And over the years, I started improving myself. And then, you know, my college, Gudekar, was a little conservative side because, they were more focused on the Indian art form, cultural art form, than having Western things. And so, you know, there was a very big challenge to introduce rap hip hop in my college and to get rap hip hop events happening as part of our annual fest that used to happen. So yeah, and then later on I started working. I took up a logistic company मध्ये job घेतला होता मी. I was working in IT firm, like a proper corporate world. Okay, I was working there with a tie, identity card लावून tie and formals and formal shoes and, you know, can I come in sir, असं सगळं culture तिकडे होतं. Those were really super cool people, like really nice, but it was corporate at the end of the day. For me, wearing slippers and going to office is empowerment for me because I can do whatever I want to. I want to be comfortable. Somebody likes it or not, I don't know. But for me, if I go, me when office जाताना खूप slippers घालून येतो because that's how I feel about it. Like, you know, it's my office. It gives me complete freedom. I can wear anything. What matters is the kind of work that I pull out over here. That's all that matters for me. So yeah, and then hip hop stopped because jobs started happening and work started happening, and then I was like, okay, it's time. I think I get serious with my life. And I started going on with whatever money earning because that's the most important thing in the next couple of years. Life is going to change. So that's how hip hop stopped, but beatboxing still used to go. कधी वेळ मिळाला तर, and then even that stopped after a while because I didn't get time. की when do I do it? कधी जर माझ्या कॉलेजच्या alumni eventला गेलो तर I used to beatbox over there. But now I have juniors who are beatboxing. So I'm like, I don't want to go. Like, hey, maybe beatbox करेगा. Like, okay, now it feels like I've grown up now. So let's just these kids do whatever they want to do. Yeah. So that's how the whole hip hop thing happened. So the company's name back then, just the name of the organization was the Hip Hop Movement, THHM. Earlier it was Thane Hip Hop Movement. We changed it to the Hip Hop Movement because we went out of Thane. And we were like, okay, let's just name it as the Hip Hop Movement, and it becomes a movement as such. So that was like the history of my hip hop and how I got into it.
आता तू जेव्हा पाहतोयस की आता जे हिपहॉप आहे तू जेव्हा कॉलेजमध्ये होतास त्यावेळी जे हिपहॉप करायचंस आणि आत्ता जे करतोयस तर हे तुला कसं फील होतं? म्हणजे सोशल मीडियावर जे हिपहॉप पाहतोयस किंवा युट्यूबवर जे पाहतोयस आता रिसेंट वाला, तर ते काय फील करतोस? कसं वाटतंय तुला की काय बदल घडले? तू जे करायचं ते वेगळं होतं आणि आता काय आहे ते अजून हाय लेवलचं झालंय किंवा थोडं काही टॉक्सिक झालंय की काय वाटतं?
Okay, see, hip-hop is commercialized. So the curse that hip-hop anyway has in Western as well, that it gets commercialized after a while. Hip-hop was, created to create awareness and consciousness amongst people, which then turned out to be bangers and club bangers and talking about, alcohol and drugs and hoes and all these things. Similarly, the curse carries on in India as well, where it's personal opinion, but people from self-provoking and thought-provoking ideas, they went to more of talking about slangs and using words that they shouldn't be, because I've always been of an opinion that you cannot use words if you want to propagate the masses, because kids are going to watch it and kids' parents are going to watch it. After a point, लहान मुलं मोठे होऊन शिवाय घालायला सुरू करतात. But let them be kids till some time. And that is why I thought, okay, let's not use such words, is because it's going to make it sound bad. It's going to put a bad impression on their parents. So now most of the raps that I see these days are very commercialized. It's about ladki, gaadi, lines and all these things. So, but then people listen to it because it has a very nice music to it.
Yes.
So, the better the music, worse the lyrics. That's how it goes for me. I mean, that's my opinion, that rap has become too much commercialized is because of music. People, the whole thing is that people don't want to listen to people don't want to listen to the lyrics. They want to listen to the music. If you listen to the lyrics, even something that goes without music is also going to be amazing. So that's how the current hip hop scenario is in India right now, where okay, good, everything is progressing, but a little more on the music side and less on the lyric side.
आता तुझ्याकडून हिपहॉप सुटलं आहे की अजूनही तू ते करतो आहेस आणि कसं करतो आहेस?
Unfortunately, I don't really have much time.
हा, हा.
So, see, I could get out of hip hop, but hip hop cannot get out of me. Okay,
Yes.
so it's something like that. I still listen to music. I listen to music as in general. Okay, I listen to it. I like, even I listen to bangers sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm having a bad day. Okay, let's make it more bad. Let's listen to MC Stan. That's what I do. So, yeah, I mean, it's just different. Like, and sometimes I listen to Eminem as well. So it's totally different for me. Just listening to music is different. And I'm really glad about the part that from where we started hip hop in Narli Bagh, in the corner of places where nobody used to see us. Now people like Divine and Gravity and all these people are having a different name. MTV started a whole new series
Hustle.
called as Hustle, where so many people were there. So I'm glad about the fact that at least it's reached to a level where it is looked as a music, looked as an art, and is a means of earning money.
म्हणजे आता कसं आहे ना की नवीन आहोत आम्ही आणि अगदी तरुणाईला सगळ्यांना MC Stan, डिवाइन हीच लोक माहिती आहेत. पण तुला काय वाटतं की अजून आम्ही काय काय ऐकावं?
The original rappers, the first generation rappers who I saw, there's this rapper called as Ankur Johar. He goes by the name Encore. He does really amazing rap. He's into conscious rap, so that's one artist. D-Evil Dhaval is from Gully Gang, but you can check out his previous music as well. You can listen to this band called as Swadeshi. Rap band, and they do proper conscious music like Sevare and all these kind of things. There's also a crew called as Mumbai's Finest, one of the very oldest crew from Mumbai, which has like rappers called as Abhishek Dhusia, Ace, all these guys are there. So these are the old not old, the first generation rappers. Now they're old, okay, they're old. You guys are old. So there are these rappers from Mumbai who actually built the scene, who started off. There's this rapper called as Poetic Justice, Vineet Nair. So there are these original rappers, Ashwini Sharma, if I can remember all these names. So these were the original rappers that they created, hip hop. Female rappers, Deepa Unnikrishnan, she was also there in MTV Hustle. And Manmeet Kaur, these are the few female rappers. The first two female rappers where art form was not that great over there, and there were female rappers coming into it. So these two female rappers were there. Sajid Sheikh was one of the music producers. Sez is one of the music producers. It's just from Mumbai, okay, if I can talk about. Overall, if you can go, Brothervi Nawacha, je Atma Rama Gana hai na. So that song is so old. Like it is in 2011-12 if I'm not wrong, and that song is getting popular now. So it's his music track. So you can listen to all these rappers. There are going to be more as well, but now it's more of commercialization. Then it was different. So these are the rappers that I personally used to listen earlier. So even if you want to go and explore the original hip hop, you can even listen. I'm not sure if Divine has his original music, old music or not, but you can just check. His English raps were amazing. He's doing Hindi raps now, but Divine's English raps were killer. Like, they were like hard hitting, and his personality is always being like killing the stage. So I prefer Divine that used to rap in English. Now he's doing in Hindi, which is also great. But English rap was something that was divine at that time.
तर एका बाजूला आपण आधी ऐकलं की सायफाय आणि ते कॉमिक्स आणि हे सगळं जग, आणि आत्ता ऐकलं ते हिपहॉप कल्चर. तर मग या सगळ्याचं जे कॉम्बिनेशन आहेस तू, त्यात तुझं ते लॉ पण आहे, तर ह्या सगळ्याचं कॉम्बिनेशन आणि विराट स्टुडिओ हे अल्टिमेट आपल्याला एक प्रोडक्ट आत्ता तुझ्या हातात आहे, तर ते काय आहे आणि कशा पद्धतीने विचार करते आणि कशा पद्धतीने पुढे जाते?
ओके, विराट स्टुडिओज is I feel a revolution that I started, revolution for myself, okay, where I want to create content, art, okay. I really didn't want to keep it very much superhero centric, but I was open to tomorrow if I get to do something. So while I was creating when I was doing the paperwork of Virat Studios, I said let's have it superhero centric, let's give it a name that a Indian superhero universe. But I was like, okay, we are doing art, you have the name art, so you have to be open to other aspects as well. So for me, Virat Studios is a content creation team, okay, where we are coming together, a lot of talented people are coming together to create Indian superhero content along with some other content as well, which is going to be in form of comics and art. So you can expect a lot of superheroes coming in couple of years. You can expect comics, you can expect novels, you can expect short films, you can expect movies, you can expect web series coming that is going to give you like proper Indian sci-fi universe, where you get to have your own superhero. This superhero meets that superhero the way it is in DC and Marvel. So that's how Virat Studios is going to move forward to create more Indian superhero content that is relatable to Indian audience, content that people would want to live if they are living in India, content where is short, where people are living, content that goes with all sort of economic social stratas of Indian audience, language that people talk, clothes that we all wear. So that's the kind of superheroes that we all are going to produce in next couple of years. My superhero will be traveling by Western Line trains, and he's going to travel by BST and going to stop a taxi like bhaiya chalo. He's going to get rejected by auto walas as well. So something that people would relate to, and people would feel ki, okay, this is something that can happen to me as well. The core idea is for kids from India to say the line that, hey, this can happen to me as well, because the bus stop is right over here, okay, or maybe my school is something like that, or maybe I wear a uniform like that, maybe because my dad is like that. So that's what Virat Studios is about. So I think that covers pretty much like what we are going to do.
तर तुझ्याकडून बऱ्याच गोष्टी आम्हाला ऐकायला मिळाल्या, काही नवीन होत्या, काही आम्ही ऐकल्यात तर त्यात अजून भर पडली. तर अशा गोष्टी आमच्यासाठी वेगळ्या होत्या आणि प्रेक्षकांसाठी पण वेगळ्या असणार आहेत. तर थँक्यू सो मच की तुझा अमूल्य वेळ असा आम्हाला दिलास आणि चांगली माहिती सांग. थँक्यू सो मच. तुम्ही हा पॉडकास्ट पूर्णपणे ऐकलात आणि हा पॉडकास्ट तुम्ही तुमच्या मित्रमैत्रिणींसोबत शेअर करा आणि भेटूयात पुन्हा एका नव्या कोऱ्या एपिसोडमध्ये. तोपर्यंत